flourishing.com, where I like to talk about living a life full of intentionality and purpose. And today I am going to be taking you on a tour of our homeschool room / playroom. It's finally completed. Been working on it and dreaming about it and thinking about it for a really long time, and finally we were able to just get it done. So I'm really excited to share. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit. Well, I wanted to show you what it looks like, and then also kind of share the thought process behind it, and kind of my thinking, since we are just starting out on our homeschool journey. And obviously my kids are really little, so I have a son that's 2.5 and one that's 8.5 months old, and so we are just in the very beginning of our homeschool journey. And so I'm constantly thinking towards the future and how we can purchase things and do things that will take us on through our entire homeschool journey, and not just for the here and now. So if you are interested in seeing our homeschool room, then just keep on watching. So just a little bit of background. I have some notes so I don't get off track. Just a little bit of background. We have been developing our philosophy of education for homeschool for our family for a while now. We've been working on it really solidly for a year, but when Samson was 3 months old, I was introduced to the Montessori method of education, and then from there just kind of introduced into Waldorf with Rudolf Steiner and Charlotte Mason. And if you are interested in kind of picking the brain of someone who's been doing a lot of research and has been kind of on a journey of figuring out their philosophy of education, I do have 2 videos that I'll link below, part 1 and part 2, of how I arrived at the point, because I think my husband and I, we have finally found our philosophy of education for our family, and now we're able to kind of start moving forward with that. So anyways, I'll link that below if you are interested. But in designing the homeschool room, there were really 3 things I was trying to focus on. The first one is obviously functional. Right now it is kind of like a playroom, because obviously the kids are little. They're 2.5 and 8.5 months old, and we plan to have several more kids, so we'll have a baby in the family probably for a while. So it will be a playroom in some sense of the word, and then but it will also be a schoolroom, because learning will be taking place along with playing, which is learning. But anyways, so also along with the functional, it needs to meet our needs now, but I'm always really careful about what purchases I make and what holes I put in the wall and paint colors I choose and everything, because I'm trying to think towards the future and what we will need 2 years from now and 5 years from now. I try not to think like super far into the future, but within like the next 5 years, what will we be needing? And that has to do with like furniture that we purchase and materials we purchase and decorations and all of that stuff. And then the second thing is, the room needs to be changeable. The room needed to be able to change, to morph. The kids are constantly growing and our needs are constantly growing, and as we add more kids to the family, that's going to be growing, so we need to be able to shift and move things around. And already I change things throughout the house all the time. And so when I purchase furniture, I try and purchase things that I wouldn't mind having in any room of the house. And at one point we had the cube shelves in our living room because we had a family member living in the current homeschool room. So really just try and think about purchasing pieces, decor, whatever it is that would look great in any room of the house. That way it's just really versatile and can be used however I want it to be used without having to worry that it doesn't look good. And the last thing is, of course, I wanted it to be beautiful. I want us to be able to walk in there and love it, and I really wanted it to be kind of have a bit of whimsy with it, whimsical and kind of magical, have a couple little nooks and just things that are just really fun and beautiful. I didn't want there to be too much stuff on the wall. I put a lot of things really low, more of like gallery level for the kids, not really for the adults. This room is, of course, I want to enjoy it, but it's more for the children, and that they're able to really enjoy it and be called to the materials and drawn to the stuff that's in there. So the decor was just simply inspired by my love of nature. I chose this green color for my dining room, and from this color I chose the rest of the colors for our home. And I love green a lot. In fact, if I had it my way, I would have made the room green, but the bathrooms are green, a lighter green than this, like just a lighter shade, and then this room is green, and then our bedroom is green, so it's like, oh, it's a lot of green. So, and also that room, it is originally the master bedroom of the house. There are 3 bedrooms upstairs. We are in one of them, Samson is in one, and then we have like the nursery baby room. And so this is actually the master bedroom that's downstairs. But when we got this house, I was looking for either an formal dining or like an extra bedroom or something that we could use as a homeschool room. So this is a master bedroom, so it only has like a small window, which is really the only thing about the room that really bothers me, is that it has a very small window. But by arranging the curtains the way that I did, putting them on hooks where they could really get swept to the side, it lets in as much light as possible, and it actually is just fine. But the color was like an issue. I was gonna go with just like the almond paste color that we have in the rest of our house, but then it just wasn't calling to me. I just thought that's so drab and boring. So anyways, we went with a yellow, which was like a big deal for me, because I used to like be the person who kind of, I'll say it, kind of would like make fun of people, like, why would you ever paint a room in your house yellow? That's so weird. And I have a yellow room in my house, so never say never. Anyways, so the yellow just goes, it's in the same palette as our greens. And then I'm really inspired by wood and sticks and baskets, weaving, just leaves, just like the very natural elements outside. Welcome to our homeschool/playroom. So the first thing that I kept in mind when I was designing this space was to kind of make it into sections. And so starting over here, this is a work shelf that usually has different, often Montessori inspired works, but sometimes it's just different things for both Samson and Jericho, since Jericho can reach it too. Usually things are in trays or baskets. And I change them out as the kids' interest changes, or depending on what I'm noticing Samson is really needing to do, like if he's dumping a lot of things out or if he's stacking. I added these stacking cups down here. And then this is a little reading nook area, so none of the pictures in this room have been changed. I want to take time to think about what I want on the walls, and so this is just an old frame. But anyway, so here's some pillows I brought in, and we've already really enjoyed this little reading nook. There's a blanket there. This book basket in particular has spring and Easter kind of themed books in it. So I thought that would be a good place to keep them. We have so many book baskets all throughout the house, and we use them all. Some paintings that Samson made on textured paper. And our puppets basket, we get puppets. The 2 large ones, the dinosaur and the owl, are from IKEA. Some smaller ones are from IKEA. I made these puppets here. If you go way back through my Instagram posts, you would see these, but they're pretty simple. So then here are the curtains. I really like that you can, let's see, the lighting's kind of crazy, but that you can really open these up wide. Obviously we have a lot of snow. That you can really open these up wide to let in the most amount of light possible. And down here, this red basket is our nature basket. We take it pretty much any walk we go on to collect items. We have a trash can. And then this is our nature table. So this strange looking thing, I'm going to use clothespins to hang different posters. So like when we start looking into butterflies in the next week or so, I will hang our butterfly poster from that. I may in the future put another one of these just at a lower level, because some of our posters are like 8x10s, and that way I can have like the big school size posters. I've got some really lovely ones from when I taught science, and then I can also have them down low. Those frames are from IKEA. They're really lovely because they're see-through, so you can see both sides. This little basket is from TJ Maxx, and the tray I think is from Michael's. And we have our nature journals, mine and Samson's, and colored pencils and some watercolors. And then these are some color paddles that we often take on our nature walks. And so anything we collect that's interesting that we want to display, we put on this table, but especially in this tray. And so then down here, this was our first TV stand that we had when we first got married, repurposed. So we have some trays from IKEA that we use to do like clay or anything that we need to contain. Some really lovely books here, so if we don't have something that we're going to draw from something that we collected on our nature walk, then we'll open up one of these books and we'll come to a page that we think is really interesting, and we will draw that. So in here we have done Nature Pal. If you haven't ever done that, you should check them out on Instagram or their webpage, naturepalexchange.com. I think that's what it is. I'll try and link it below. But anyways, we've gotten a nature exchange from someone in Oklahoma, and funnily enough, someone from Texas, even though we are from Texas, but we live in Virginia. So then I also have a clipboard in here sometimes if we go outside or just for in here. I really need to put a second one in there for me, and then I guess a third one for Jericho. In here is just some small play objects. So we've collected pine cones, and this one has sticks, so he can use them with dump trucks or really however he wants to. We do have a lap desk here for when we want to go and do things on the couch. Sometimes we go and draw on the couch. So then this stool here was made by Samson's grandpa, and Jericho really likes to use it to cruise along, so we kind of move it all throughout. But I may have to move it away from here because just the other day he stood on it and was trying to reach on top. So that picture is a photograph I took in Thailand. So then if we come over here, we have this. So this room is a combination of play too. So we have some train tracks and have some Ryan's room building blocks and some trains. I don't have pictures in the frames. My idea is that these will reflect the season, and there'll be photos of either us in that particular season or so like there's one of a really beautiful praying mantis that I took last summer that I want to find, but I can't find it on my computer, so I'm still searching. So this is more geared towards Jericho. This would be his work shelf, the baby work shelf. Sorry, my hand's getting a little crazy. And so down here would be his book box. I try not to stuff it too full, but I do try to have plenty because we do read a lot. And he's really been interested, even though he can't do puzzles, he's really been interested in this puzzle that's similar to one at the library. Just some simple things, different things for him to do that he's interested in right now. And then these are some books that I refer to a lot. It's got our homegrown preschooler curriculum, and this is a process art book. This is the morning time book that I talk about in kind of our philosophy of education videos, which I will link those below. There's part 1 and part 2, which are really great if you're not really sure what your own philosophy of homeschool education is right now. This is for hanging, it's a magnet board, and it's for hanging just any kind of letters or anything we get in the mail. This is a card holder. I got that it's from Thailand when we visited. And then our calendar. So then over here we have our CD player. These are just some flower sticks we made. That was an idea from the homegrown preschooler. Samson was super into puzzles for a while there, so we started collecting lots of puzzles, and he did all of these. But then he just stopped. It was like his sensitive period for it, and then he was done. But I still leave them out because he may come back to them. This is our Easter shelf right now, and Jericho can obviously access. He doesn't get the puzzles out right now, but we may have to move them in the future if he chooses to. But he can access this shelf. These are just books right now, but this will kind of be like a themed shelf maybe for the month if we have a holiday coming up, you know. this up here are things that we don't want Jericho to get into, so these are pretty cool. You twist them and they light up, and anyways, Samson's pops gave him those. This is a sewing, some sewing work, and this is just our resurrection eggs that we made for Easter coming up that we don't want Jericho to get into because they're small pieces. And then we have a timer because Samson's really been appreciating knowing exactly like how much time we have, 2 minutes or whatever. This is kind of our themed shelf, but here on top in here is kind of like my secret stash. So I have like our CDs. Here are some stationery and cards. We try to write a letter or card a week to send to someone. Just some supplies I need, bookmarks, scissors, just some things like that to kind of stash and hide so it doesn't look messy in here, which I have a tendency to be. So right now our themed shelf is geared towards birds, and soon we're going to change it back to worms. We were going to do worms, but then it's been snowing, so I will wait until the snow clears. But Jericho can have access to both of these things, but probably this has some feathers that I wouldn't want him to choke on. So probably if I'm not in here, I will just place this on top if I know Jericho's in here without me watching. But everything else is fine for him. So there's just some tube animals from Safari Ltd and some books and a puppet and water and bird seed and just some different things. And I have some cards hidden back there that Samson knows he can get out and check out. So then, if you want to be real life, isn't this so sad? This is not what it's supposed to look like. I will put it up there and show you what it's supposed to look like, but it is our dress-up center, but the command strips are not working. I guess it's too heavy, and I'm hoping we don't have to drill into the wall, so I will have to figure out an alternative. But obviously I need to put pictures in there, and then Jericho loves this full-length mirror, and so does Samson, and I got that at Target for, $5.99 I think. So then there's the door that leads out into the living room. So just a reminder, this was the master bedroom. And then this is actually the bathroom door. So I'm going to put this up and see if I can quickly film it for like 2 seconds before it falls down. All right, so here's our dress-up area. I got the hanger at Target. And then I have a bin down here that has like a wallet and some hats and ribbon and some fake flowers. I can hear that it's about to fall. It has a purse and butterfly wings, and oh, here it comes. But I get a lot of questions asked where I get my costume materials. There it goes. And I find them at like Goodwill, places like that, or sometimes just around Halloween I look for cheap versions. So anyways, that is our room. So I hope that you've been able to find something in here that inspires you. Oh yes, there's our nature mobile. We love it so much. But the leaves are dead. So once spring comes, I hope to dry out and preserve some flowers and make it a really beautiful nature mobile. Oh, and those I got from Michael's. If you use your 40% off coupon, then you can go back and at least get the big one with the 40% off, so it's not so pricey. But there it is. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of our homeschool room and you were able to get some ideas, and I hope that you were inspired. Just wanted to kind of put out there that this room did not just come together overnight or in the span of a week. This room has been something that I've been working towards for a couple of years, and sometimes you just can't afford to buy everything, or you don't have the time, or you don't even have the space that you want, and you just have to make do. And I just really value and appreciate just contentment, and I strive for contentment in my life. And so I know that sometimes it's daunting when you look at someone who has something totally completed and you think, oh gosh, how can I ever get there? I just want to encourage you, friend, just rest in contentment in what you have and what you can accomplish. And it's lovely. Your kids don't need all of this stuff. This is fun and it's beautiful, but they don't need it for you to have a lovely homeschool or playroom that meets their needs. So I just want to encourage you on that note. And so if you like this video, if you had fun watching it and you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. It helps. with the algorithm with YouTube, and you can hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the future videos that I post. And thanks for coming along.